I gave y'all 30 years of my career.
Robert.
30 years of my career. And y'all trying to kill me.
My mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yes.
Yo fam, word hit the streets fast when Robert stepped out those gates, and chaos followed instantly. He barely touched fresh air before everything got loud, like cameras, people, and tension all crashing in at once. February 25th, 2019 turned into a wild scene after he got out of Cook County Jail on charges tied to multiple allegations, including ones involving underage individuals. A suburban Chicago woman dropped $100,000 for his bond, and just like that, around 5:25 p.m., he was out, at least for the moment. But what he did next, that's what had everybody talking. He slid out in a black van and pulled up to a rock and roll McDonald's in River North like nothing was going on. Out of all places, he chose nuggets and burgers. He jumped out, smiling, signing autographs, taking selfies like it was a fan event. One fan even yelled, "I love you," and he waved back like it was all normal. And it didn't stop there. After that fast food run, his crew rolled into Big's Mansion, a high-end cigar lounge in the Gold Coast. He stayed there for hours, kicking back with cigars while everything outside was spiraling. That whole run, from jail to McDonald's to a luxury lounge, turned into a viral moment people still talk about.
People have no idea that there's two different men, that there's the person, Robert, there's the persona, R. Kelly.
Now wait, this cigar image didn't fade at all. Months later, Easter Sunday, April 21st, 2019, cameras caught him again outside his Trump Tower spot in Chicago. He was leaning by a Rolls Royce, holding a huge cigar like a movie character, talking on his phone and looking way too relaxed. Reports said he didn't seem stressed at all, even with legal issues and financial pressure building around him. He looked like he was on vacation, not dealing with serious trouble. Around that same time, he sat down with Gayle King for that CBS interview everyone still talks about. When she asked about the allegations, he got emotional fast, raising his voice, moving around, denying everything with intensity. The energy was all over the place. That mix, him breaking down on TV, then casually out grabbing food or smoking cigars, keeps people replaying those moments again and again. Years later, those flashy moments hit different. The cigars, the luxury car, the fan interactions, it all clashes with where he is now, serving time with a release date far into the future. That sharp contrast keeps social media buzzing non-stop. And here's where it gets messy. Old clips keep getting reposted with wild captions claiming new releases or sudden freedom. Fact checkers even stepped in to confirm he's still incarcerated, but edited videos and fake subtitles keep spreading confusion online.
What are the lies that you're hearing that disturb you most?
Oh my God. All of them. Got little girls trapped in the basement.
Even in April 2026, people on X still joke about that moment. Anytime someone lights up a big cigar, those clips get dragged right back out. The McDonald's footage hits differently too, especially with claims from the surviving R. Kelly documentary saying he approached teenage girls at certain locations. Then, when news dropped in early 2026 about his projected release date, December 21st, 2045, the internet went wild. TikToks and Reels started replaying those 2019 cigar lounge clips with captions like, "This was him last time he was free." Some posts even pushed fake early release stories, and fact checkers had to shut it down fast. Now here's the legal side, and it's heavy. His legal team kept pushing every angle they could. In 2021, the New York case brought a 30-year sentence tied to racketeering and trafficking charges. Then in 2022, Chicago added 20 more years connected to exploitation content, with part of that time stacking on top. Altogether, that puts him at about 31 years, with that 2045 release date when he'll be nearly 80. Appeals? They went everywhere and got blocked every time. In February 2025, the Second Circuit backed the full sentence, saying the arguments had no weight and pointing to years of abuse of fame. Chicago's appeal didn't move either. The Supreme Court denied twice, October 2024 and again June 23, 2025. That door shut hard.
They was describing Lucifer. I'm not Lucifer. I'm a man. I make mistakes.
Even after that, the fight didn't stop. In August 2025, his team tried to remove the entire U.S. Attorney's Office from the case, but Judge Martha Packold rejected it, calling it extreme and unsupported. The craziest twist dropped in June 2025. His legal team filed an emergency motion claiming a wild plot that 3 Bureau of Prisons officials were involved in a plan to have him killed, allegedly using another inmate. They also threw in claims about tampered mail and misuse of legal communication. Attorney Beau Brindley even held a press conference, painting Robert as someone exposing corruption, and went as far as publicly asking Donald Trump for clemency, skipping the usual process. The judge shut it down quick, saying there was no authority to act since he wasn't even held in that district. Prosecutors didn't hold back either, calling the whole thing unrealistic and not serious. That same victim tone had already shown up in his Gayle King interview, but the sentence still splits opinions. Some argue 30 years isn't enough considering the number of allegations, including ones involving underage individuals. Others say it's too harsh for non-homicide charges and question how those laws were applied. Judges, though, focused on what they described as a long pattern of harmful behavior over decades.
I have been assassinated. I have been buried alive. But I'm alive.
Then things heated up again in February 2026. He got placed in solitary confinement, special housing, at a federal facility in North Carolina after a surprise cell search. Officers found a notebook with the personal number of a former prison official right after his cellmate got caught with a contraband phone. Now here's the twist. That contact might not have been random. He had been part of a mentoring program linked to that official before retirement, and his lawyer said the number was given for that reason. Still, officials saw it as a risk, especially mixed in with contraband, and launched an investigation while keeping him isolated. Brindley said those conditions hit hard. In the SHU, inmates are locked down about 23 hours a day with barely any access to calls, visits, commissary, or programs. Robert lost all of that for nearly 2 weeks, cut off from everything while isolated. It echoed that old Gayle King moment where he was already emotional and asking for support. By mid-March 2026, the review wrapped up and found no violations. He was moved back into general population, just like that. Brindley called the whole situation unfair and said there was no solid reason for keeping him there that long. Reports confirmed the outcome, while the Bureau of Prisons stayed quiet, sticking to their usual policy on internal matters.
I need somebody to help me not have a big heart.
Online reactions? Total chaos. Supporters flooded social media with claims of targeting and harassment, saying they always find a reason to mess with him. Others weren't buying it at all. Some brushed it off, others clapped back with sarcasm and reminders of why he's there in the first place. And here's the thing, this wasn't even new for him. Trouble inside federal custody has followed him since 2019. What's been happening behind those walls is packed with tension, conflict, and non-stop drama. From the moment he landed at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago, things started getting messy fast. Not long after he got there, Robert was back in the SHU again. His team said it made no sense, but other reports told a different story. He had actually asked for protective housing because he felt unsafe around other inmates. With the kind of charges he was facing, he saw isolation as the safer move. By September 2019, his attorney Stephen Greenberg confirmed he was out of solitary and either in general population or sharing a cell. Prosecutors later backed that up in court, saying he wasn't stuck in isolation like some claims suggested. So even before any verdict dropped, things inside were already getting complicated, and both sides were shaping the narrative in public.
Then August 2020 hit, and things turned physical. While he was in his cell at MCC Chicago, another inmate, Jeremiah Shane Farmer, came in and attacked him. Reports say he was either resting or sitting when it happened. Farmer, already serving life for serious crimes, started throwing punches to his head and body. Guards rushed in and had to use pepper spray to stop it after shouting didn't work. Robert ended up with bruises and cuts, but nothing life-threatening. The whole situation unfolded during heavy lockdowns, with tensions already high inside the facility. After that attack, Robert was moved right back into the SHU for protection. His attorneys, Tom Farinella, Doug Anton, and Steve Greenberg, pushed hard for bail, arguing the facility couldn't keep him safe at all. But then things took a strange turn. The inmate involved, Jeremiah Shane Farmer, filed a handwritten motion claiming staff basically allowed it to happen. He said officials told him to carry out the attack to bring attention to his own case, even claiming guards watched and didn't step in right away. Authorities pushed back fast, calling those claims baseless. And since Farmer was already serving a life sentence, no new major charges came from that incident.
At that time, MCC Chicago was already dealing with serious problems, violence, staff shortages, and rough conditions that later led to parts of it shutting down. Robert's legal team used the attack to argue for release, but every request got denied. The situation had people debating non-stop. Was he being treated differently or not protected enough because of the charges? By early 2023, after sentencing wrapped, he was transferred to FCI Butner Medium 1 in North Carolina, and that's where things heated up again in June 2025. On June 10th, right after his team filed for temporary release, he was placed in SHU again, this time tied to claims of a serious plot involving prison officials and another inmate. The motion didn't stop there. It also claimed mail tampering and misuse of private attorney-client information, supposedly pulled through a cellmate. His lawyers argued the SHU placement was straight-up retaliation. Then things took an even darker turn around June 12th and 13th. His legal team claimed prison staff gave him way more of his anxiety and sleep medication than prescribed. According to them, he collapsed in his cell, crawled to the door, and lost consciousness before being rushed by ambulance to Duke University Hospital in North Carolina.
Doctors treated him for serious issues, including blood clots in his lungs, and he stayed there for about 2 days. But his team said he was taken out early, against medical advice, and sent back to solitary under heavy supervision. Officials pushed back on that version, describing it as routine medical care instead. Back inside, he reportedly refused some meals, fearing they were unsafe, and even compared his situation to other high-profile custody cases, saying he felt more secure in regular housing. His team used all of this to strengthen their emergency claims. Attorney Brindley went public again, calling it part of a bigger corruption story, and even appealing directly to Donald Trump for clemency, skipping the usual process. But around June 19th, 20th, the judge denied the request, saying there was no legal ground to act. Prosecutors didn't hold back, calling the claims unrealistic and dismissing them completely. Even with all this going on, Robert was still making music behind bars. In March 2025, reports said he was singing during a podcast interview from prison, keeping that side of him alive no matter the situation. Clips even popped up online, showing him performing for other inmates, while at the same time, his lawyers were filing emergency motions claiming his life was at risk. That contrast, crazy.
Through all these moments, a pattern kept showing up. His legal team framed the SHU stays as punishment, retaliation, or part of bigger plots to strengthen release arguments, but every attempt got denied. On the other side, officials treated those moves as standard procedure and pushed back on any exaggeration. There's also no public record showing he spent long stretches in SHU for direct rule-breaking, like fighting or contraband. His status as a high-profile figure likely played a role in extra caution, leading to more protective or investigative isolation. The 2020 assault still stands as the main confirmed physical attack during his time inside, with no other major fights publicly reported. Most of his SHU placements came down to safety concerns, internal investigations, or claims tied to legal battles. And that June 2025 hospital situation, it split opinions fast. Supporters saw corruption, while others believed it was overstated to push for release. This whole situation tied right into his ongoing efforts to get a new trial in the Chicago case. And to be fair, the facilities themselves already had real issues. MCC Chicago dealt with violence, drugs, and heavy COVID-19 problems during his time there, and it eventually had to partially shut down. FCI Butner has also faced criticism over medical care and housing conditions, separate from anything involving him directly.
So while his team painted a picture of targeted treatment, the reality is those environments had bigger problems, affecting more than just one person. Still, the June 2025 filings came packed with bold claims, allegations of a plot, medication issues, misuse of private legal communication, and even mail interference meant to pressure people involved. When Judge Picold canceled the hearing and denied the motion, his team said they'd push for a new trial based on what they called newly discovered evidence. Deadlines stretched into early 2026, but nothing changed the outcome. Claims about threats, isolation, and medical concerns kept showing up in filings, yet none led to release. Courts consistently said the arguments didn't meet the bar or weren't under their authority, while officials stayed quiet for security reasons. Through all the noise, motions, claims, and headlines, one thing never moved: that projected release date, December 21st, 2045. Every challenge got blocked, and the system kept moving forward. But the bigger story, how it all started, runs way deeper than this moment.
This story didn't start overnight, it's decades deep. Robert Sylvester Kelly, born in 1967, came up from Chicago's South Side and turned into a massive R&B star. Hits like I Believe I Can Fly and Ignition Remix had him on top, with awards and recognition stacking up fast. But while the music was winning, serious allegations started building as early as the 1990s, and they never really went away. One of the first major moments hit in 1994. He married his protege Aaliyah, who was under 18 at the time, while he was in his late 20s, using documents that misrepresented her age. The marriage was later annulled. During later court proceedings, witnesses made claims about inappropriate conduct involving her when she was younger, and allegations surfaced about efforts to arrange that marriage under questionable circumstances. By the mid-90s, more accusations followed. Lawsuits began piling up, including claims involving a teenager and pressure related to a pregnancy. Through the late 90s and early 2000s, multiple families came forward with concerns about his interactions with underage girls. Then 2002 changed everything. A tape surfaced that led to serious charges involving an underage individual. His 2008 trial in Chicago ended with a not guilty verdict after key witnesses didn't testify and the defense challenged the claims heavily. Even after that outcome, the controversy didn't fade. Public voices connected to the case continued speaking out, keeping the situation in the spotlight for years. The allegations stayed in the background for years, but then everything blew up during the #MeToo era. Around 2017 and 2018, women like Jerhonda Pace and Kitty Jones came forward, describing serious claims involving control, abuse, and manipulation. Former associates also spoke out, alleging Me had people approach young women at public places like malls, concerts, and even McDonald's locations. Then, January 2019 changed everything. The Surviving R. Kelly documentary dropped on Lifetime, produced by Dream Hampton, and it shook the internet. Multiple accusers shared stories describing strict control, isolation, and punishment inside what they called a controlled environment. The series pulled in over 26 million viewers, and the reaction was huge. Big names started speaking up too. John Legend appeared in the documentary and defended that decision publicly.
I could lend my voice to something that would highlight these young people who have been hurt.
His ex-wife, Drea Kelly, also opened up, sharing emotional details about their past, including what she experienced behind the scenes while performing. The industry responded fast. The #MuteRKelly movement gained momentum. Streaming platforms limited his exposure, and RCA Records cut ties with him. But Robert fired back with a 19-minute track, I Admit, denying the accusations while raising even more questions. By July 2019, everything escalated fast. Federal charges came down heavy, with prosecutors claiming he ran a long-term system built on control and manipulation. The 2021 New York trial stretched 6 intense weeks, bringing over 40 witnesses to the stand. Testimony painted a disturbing picture. Accounts of grooming starting in the teen years, repeated abuse, and strict control over daily life. After about 9 hours of deliberation, the jury found him guilty on all 9 counts, including racketeering and multiple violations related to transportation for illegal activity. The result? A 30-year sentence. Then came the 2022 Chicago trial. This one focused on exploitation material and accusations tied to earlier recordings. A key witness, now an adult, testified that he built trust with her when she was young, before things turned inappropriate. The jury convicted him on several counts, adding 20 years, mostly overlapping with the first sentence. The judge didn't hold back, describing a pattern that lasted decades and showed clear disregard for harm caused. Career-wise, it collapsed fast. No major label backing, no big stages, no mainstream push. Still, in a twist, his music saw a sudden spike. Sales jumped over 500%, and streams climbed as people rushed back to those old hits. While locked up, Robert hasn't dropped any official albums, but he's still been active creatively. In March 2025, a remix tied to a viral challenge surfaced, reportedly recorded from inside FCI Butner. His attorney pointed to it as proof he's still making music, no matter the situation. Then, in early 2026, another clip started spreading, this time him singing over Chris Brown's It Depends. Big names even reacted. Teddy Riley showed love online, calling him the king of R&B, while Chris Brown also engaged with the moment, sparking even more buzz. Robert has claimed in phone interviews that he's written around 25 albums while incarcerated, calling music something he can't shake off. But not everything online is real. Full projects floating around, like gospel-themed albums, have been flagged as AI-generated or fan-made. Fact-checkers have stepped in multiple times, pointing out fake visuals and altered audio. There was even a 2022 project briefly uploaded to platforms, then it got pulled fast after his team said it wasn't authorized. Through it all, he's continued to deny the accusations, calling them exaggerated or driven by outside motives. His legal team keeps arguing the case was pushed too far and lacked solid ground. In a March 2025 podcast clip, he was heard singing parts of older songs, showing he's still holding on to music daily. Public reaction? Still split. Some see resilience, others see denial. And every new clip just brings more debate, memes, and confusion right back into the spotlight.
That December 2045 release date? Still locked in tight. Every appeal got denied. Every emergency motion shut down. No movement at all. Those flashy cigar lounge moments from 2019 might keep popping up online, but the reality hits different now. The man behind those clips isn't stepping outside those prison walls anytime soon. The streets keep talking, the videos keep looping, and the facts stay the facts. This story keeps living online, but the situation itself hasn't changed one bit. If you made it this far, tap that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to see it. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think about all this.